spirit of Elijah.
Yes.
What is the spirit of Elijah? Let's look and see this in 1 Kings 19. I want to give you the background of this just a minute. This is after Elijah had run from Jezebel. Can you believe that? A prophet of God ran from some woman. He's a prophet of God, and this little old lady came out, threatened him, and he went to running like a scared cat. He sat under a broom tree. Do you remember the story? Elijah went out and he sat under a broom tree. Now, that means you've been swept off your feet with that. He sat under a broom tree, preparing to die, saying, Lord, take my life. I want to die. You ever been there? He said, look at 1 Kings 19, verses 1 through 4. Let's read it. Instead of talking about the background, let's just go to the background. Let's just look at it. And Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, also how he had executed all the prophets with the sword. Then Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah, saying, so let the gods do to me, and more also. And more also, if I do not make your life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. And when he saw that, he arose and ran for his life, and went to Beersheba, which belongs to Judah, and left his servants there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a broom tree, and he prayed that he might die, and said, it is enough. Now, Lord, take my life, for I am no better than my fathers. Now, do you see? God wanted to raise this man up as a father, spiritually. He was getting ready to meet who? Elisha. Yeah. And be a spiritual father. And he's under a broom tree saying, God of my fathers, I'm no better than any of they. Think about it. Getting ready to be used as a father, but feeling hopeless, and as he had failed and was no better than his fathers, and he didn't think much of his own fathers, as far as I understand, but he thought of himself even more less than they. And now he's faced with having to become a father. That's where many of you are. That's where we've been. We have been in a place where we're thrust upon the idea of being a father when we don't feel like we've had a father. But you are the very candidate. You're the very choice of God. You're the very one that God will use, because your heart cries out for the spirit of a father. And when your heart cries out for one, you're the best candidate to be one, because you're sensitive to that. You want that. You understand that. You're hungry for that. And you will be that to someone else. And that will even be the answer for your own void and loss. Being the very answer for someone else. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Notice his dilemma. I am no better than my fathers. Now look at 1 Kings 19, verse 21. Go to verse 21. This is where Elijah throws his mantle upon Elisha. And verses 19 through 21 right in there is when he happens by a young man named Elisha. And by the leading of the Holy Spirit, throws his mantle upon him. This mantle was a mantle of covering and a grace mantle of calling. You could say it's really both. It's calling and a covering. When God calls you, He'll put you under a covering. Under that covering, you learn. What are you under a covering for? So you're protected. When you're learning under the covering of another, you have the protection of that other person. You're learning under their covering. When you make a mistake, it's not so bad. If you're out there on your own, it's bad. But if you make a mistake in the Father's house, He just picks up all the broken tools, puts them back in your hands, and says, try it again.
Sure.
You begin to learn in the Father's house. You don't learn by going out into the actual field of conflict.